I just saw this video. It's a guy reviewing Overwatch 2 reviews, and I just had to make my own video because this is the most ignorant shit I think I've ever seen.
The article goes on to say,
when the original Overwatch launched, part of the appeal to it was that I could pick any hero at any time. I started with Tracer, was tremendously awful at her. She's one of the hardest heroes to master, but it didn't matter because the matchmaking let me feel competent playing against people of a similar skill level anyway. The game encouraged you to pick whoever fit your style or used an ability on you that might be fun to try. The new unlock method throws a lot away and wields that curiosity against you. If you really want something, you have to earn it. An ethos that is synonymous with free-to-play games, but an uncomfortable fit for Overwatch, which always guaranteed equal access to everything but cosmetics.
So the whole point of this article was I tried the first-time user experience as a experienced player. So the premise of him feeling boxed in by not having the options available requires him to remember what it was like to freely swap in Overwatch 1.
First off, he says that no experienced person will ever have any idea of how a new person will enter into a new game. Nope, I can't imagine. I can't imagine that at all. He assumes that the only way someone can desire the freedom of clicking on another hero that's locked is if they previously knew that they had the ability to do that in Overwatch 1. This is the most intellectually dishonest argument ever made. You can feel limited just by looking at the limited selection of heroes that you have to click on when you play the fucking game. You don't need some frame of reference because it's literally given to you.
Like, was it better for you to throw on Tracer?
It very much was.
And kind of haphazardly swap to heroes that you didn't know how to play yet? Was that good for MMR? Like, you think that the matchmaking was fine, but I can assure you doing that is not fine.
This whole argument right here assumes that the person who's throwing on Tracer, probably in quick play, actually cares. Because they probably don't care what's happening with their MMR. They probably just want to have fun.
And what's more, is it a great feeling in competitive at literally any rank for players to have this attitude he's talking about? Oh, I'll just try a thing for the first time. That sounds like a good thing to do.
I've been trying to wrap my mind around this whole thing. So we have people that play competitive. Mind you have to do 100 games to get into competitive. That's not a lot of games. Because you need either 60 wins or 120 games played total. Whichever one comes first to get all the heroes unlocked. So you could, worst case scenario, not have all the heroes unlocked, but you probably will. Do you think at 100 games in, you're going to know how to play every single hero? You won't. So this doesn't fix that problem at all. This has nothing to do with that. If you want to play competitive with only people that have been playing competitive and understand what they're doing, go play with a team. That's how Overwatch is meant to be played, with a team. Don't be solo queuing and getting mad that your DPS is playing Widowmaker and he has no idea how to click on heads.
No, the very thing he's praising is a purely short-term, casual point of view.
It is not short-term nor casual for people to want new people to have the freedom to play the game. The casual argument should be, give me a tutorial so I can learn how to play the game, all easy and it's like not hard, and that's why game tutorials are so fucking boring nowadays. That's the casual. The hardcore is you learn trial by fire. You will make your mistakes, and that's fine, but you will learn from them, or you will die trying.
It's like a cute idea that wears out its welcome after an hour or two.
Yes, because when I first started playing Overwatch, I got tired of having all these characters to pick from, and I said, no, Daddy Blizzard, please tell me which hero I need to play right now. No, you fucking idiot. It's fun to be able to make choices.
And after 6 years of playing Overwatch 1, myself and many others are happy for new players to not have to be overwhelmed by 35 heroes right at launch.
I don't want Blizzard to attempt to protect anyone from the feeling of being overwhelmed, because that's something Overwatch players have to get used to, because that's all Overwatch is. as your tank's dying, there's a monkey in the air about to land on you, and Genji's got his sword out, and you don't know what the fuck to do, but you gotta figure it out. That's all Overwatch is. And if you think having, 14 heroes to pick as DPS and 12 to pick as tank and 8 to pick as support is too much of a decision, you need to get over that. Because that's all Overwatch is making decisions while you're overwhelmed. And the best way to get over being overwhelmed is to just be overwhelmed and learn to deal with it. Not to cower behind Blizzard and say, please, Blizzard, make the game less overwhelming. It is to face your fear head on and learn to be comfortable with it.
That's ridiculous. He goes on to say,
As an experienced player who adores the rock, paper, scissors metagame of hero picks and counters, the limited choice hurts more than it would for a new player. But for a game that dropped its price tag to let anyone in, Overwatch 2 doesn't offer a better way to learn or even play with that metagame until you've put the time in.
and as you guys might imagine, I just disagree with this premise anyway. The article goes on,
Mid-match swaps are essential to Overwatch. So essential that when you switch heroes in Overwatch 2, you keep up to 30% of your ultimate charge. The way it discourages it from the very start clashes with the game's entire pitch.
this narrative is just straight up incorrect. Swapping heroes, especially in Overwatch 2, is not to swap off into an advantage, but to attempt to avoid a disadvantage, usually down to your own execution.
I don't understand how this guy thought this and then wrote it down and then recorded himself saying it and then made it into a video, and along the way he didn't realize how stupid it sounds. There's a weakness in your comp and you swap to remove that weakness, yes, not every time you're gaining an advantage, but if you have a Winston on the other team and you're playing a Genji into them, that's a big weakness, because now when your DPS is just cannon fodder, he does fucking nothing for you, right? Because he's Genji into a Winston. But if you swap to a Reaper, you now gain an advantage, because Reaper absolutely wrecks against Winston. That's not just leveling the playing field. Now Winston has to worry about whether or not Reaper is going to show up when he jumps on someone else. That's called an advantage. That's how the game works. 9 times out of 10, when I'm losing an Overwatch 2 competitive game, and then I start to win it, it's because me or someone else on my team swapped off a hero that wasn't doing so good, and then we started doing better. Because we changed our composition to gain an advantage. That's how the game works.
There are matchups that will make it harder for you because there are soft counters in the game. And if you feel like you can't outplay them, you can swap. But it's unlikely you're swapping to something that will then force them to swap. The counters of the game aren't that hard. The rock, paper, scissors doesn't exist. Instead, there's small advantages to the game. So this is why I disagree with some creators that don't like the retain 30% ult charge global passive now, because I just don't believe swapping is ever much of an advantage ever.
Okay, in that situation, that it never existed, and people are swapping because they feel like it. And I've had games where we've rotated through 3 different comps. We've literally been 3 different comps, and the third comp, well, technically, the fourth comp was just the first comp all over again because people just kept swapping. That was one of my games a couple days ago in Overwatch 2. This is not true. This is not how the game is played. People swap, and it's a big fucking deal sometimes. Sure, there are better matchups, right? But when you're talking about a competitive game where someone wants to win, being 5% better at something is huge. Being 20% better is huger. It's fucking crazy. If you're like, I've got a 20% chance to get $1 million, are you gonna push the fucking button a couple times? Come on. I'm gonna. The dude that's playing Soldier into a Pharah is gonna, and the Pharah should probably fucking swap if she's getting kills. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna kill. Like no, if you're playing Junkrat into a Pharah and no one can hit her, of course, it's huge. That's huge. No one can even touch her. You got a Zarya and a Junkrat, maybe like a Hanzo, right? Don't even have an Ana in your team. What do you have? Maybe like a Kiriko and a Zenyatta. No one can fucking touch Pharah, right? No one can touch her. So no one should swap because it's not going to give you a big advantage. No, it's only going to be a little bit, a little 20% extra value out of your hero. Because now you can hit scan.
Keeping some ult just softens some of the disadvantage of swapping, because if you're swapping, something went wrong, and you're probably losing. It's a lose less mechanic, not a swap to win mechanic.
This implies that anytime you notice a weakness in your composition, you're immediately losing. No, the payload hasn't moved an inch, but because I'm swapping off Genji because he's weak to the whatever the fuck, it means you're losing. No, there's plenty of times where you swap because you realize, oh shit, that's not a good thing to go up against. And like I just said, being 20% better at something is huge. Being 5% better is huge. Any little bit of an advantage you get is fucking huge. When you're playing against someone that is supposedly equal skill or around equal skill, being 20% better that's the difference. That makes the whole game. And your cumulative 60% better team comp than theirs, that's all it takes to win the game. So yeah, sure, it's not a gigantic difference in a 1v1, it's not going to matter, right? But when you're actually properly playing Overwatch and you're doing a team fight, yeah, no, your 60% better comp is going to win probably 8 times out of 10.
Now Overwatch 2's new player experience adds friction where it never was before and arbitrarily limits the options for players in the most important hours of playing a new game. If Blizzard wants it to be approachable to a variety of players for a long time, this isn't how you do it.
I'm not sure why he feels he's the authority on this as an experienced player.
Because unlike this troglodyte, the dude doing the review has the ability to put himself in the shoes of someone else and understand how they feel. Apparently this dude lacks that skill. He can't fucking imagine how someone else might feel while playing the game. Can't do it.
I really would like to see actually new players to the game if they feel that the first time user experience was bad.
Z, come here.
Yeah?
Alright, for some background, can you name 5 games you played?
Well, I've played Ultimate Custom Night. I've played SCP Containment Breach, Lobotomy Corporation.
Okay, yeah. So there's the point. She's not a gamer. She is your general audience, new player to Overwatch, hasn't played any competitive shooters. What do you think of the locked characters in Overwatch 2?
I don't particularly like it. I wish I had more freedom in choosing them at the start, because I want to make mistakes, you know. I want to learn how to properly play the character against more experienced players. I don't want to be forced into choosing characters that I don't really want to play at the start. If I look at a character and I think it's cool, I want to play it. But I can't play it yet because the game says no, you have to play these other characters first.
So I just flat out disagree that new players are going to be like, oh, why don't I get all the super extra complex heroes I don't understand yet? Why don't I get to play against a bunch of mechanics I haven't learned yet?
It would be much better if the game just trusted that new players can learn how stuff works instead of trying this time gating bullshit where they try to make it look like they're helping new players when in reality they're probably not. They're probably just making it a little bit annoying for new players.
That's not what's going to happen. Instead, you're going to have Genjis fighting soldiers with a Mercy, and all the mechanics are easy to understand.
New players would probably respect the game more if the game respected them. That means allowing them to make their own mistakes. You can change MMR, right? Like you said, the matchmaking, so that new players play against new players. So that everyone is playing on the same level of shit. And none of them have any idea what the fuck anything does. And they're all experimenting all together, right? If there's enough of a population to be able to do that and keep people that with locked heroes together, there's enough of a population to keep that skilled group of people that are new to the game and only have less than 100 hours in the same queue together. And then you can just let them go and experience the game and let them make their mistakes and let them learn. But instead, no one can be trusted to learn how to play the game, and we have to hold their hands because gaming is coming to an end, and now everyone's a goddamn toddler and no one can figure out how to fucking move. I need to be told how to move in every game. I don't get it.
And you get to interact with the wonderful map design and the basic Overwatch combat as a new player and learn at your own pace.
I can't, like, this is so fucking triggering. I'm literally a salt flat right now. I don't understand. I'm about to be toxic. I don't understand how this guy can say that, yeah, we should limit the rate at which you can play the heroes, and then say in the same breath that we're letting people learn at their own pace. Does he not understand the cognitive dissonance between the two statements? What the fuck?
So much worse would it be if everyone unlocked everything at once, and it was easy to make Smurf accounts into competitive, for example, but also for actual new players trying to learn the game, it is way too much.
I don't think you mean to, but you're calling everyone retarded. You're saying that people can't be trusted to just learn the game by playing the game. People are not just these meat suits walking around absorbing information, playing on their PS4 or 7 or what the fuck we're up to now. Like, they understand stuff, and they can be trusted to learn, right? At least some of them can. So don't say that it's impossible for them to learn how to play a game with 38 heroes unless we limit what they can do. Don't say, oh yes, take away my freedom, Blizzard. It's fucking un-American, man.
And this article seems to think that if they just have all the options, well, then they'll understand counterpicking. But the truth is, you, sir, I almost guarantee, don't understand counterpicking in Overwatch 1 or 2.
The article's not saying that if you gave them all the heroes, they would immediately understand how counterpicking works. It says, hey, it would be better if you just gave everyone all the heroes. So then, if someone on their team says, hey, Winston's there, I know Reaper's really good against Winston, go play Reaper. And then they'll find out, oh shit, Reaper's really good against Winston. How the fuck do you think we figured that out back in the day? Someone just told you, right? Or you found it out on yourself. It wasn't like we were told by Blizzard, hey, guys, get some coordination to kill Bastion. They just told us to shut the fuck up and sit down and go figure it out. That's what they did. Remember? Why can't we do that again?
Why we think a new player can just learn this by the options existing is just not a thing that exists.
That's entirely how information works. That's how, like, knowing stuff works. You have the option to do something, and maybe you do it, and you find out what happens afterwards. So yes, new players having the ability to play all the heroes will eventually learn what Junkrat's good at, and what Ana's good at, and what Lucio's good at, just by playing the fucking characters. That's how we did back in the day. I don't understand why you think we have some lexicon of knowledge. I got this big fucking codex sitting on my desk, and every time I need to swap heroes, I'm like, oh fuck, what is monkey counter? Ah, cool, got it. Like, no, I just know this shit because I've played probably 4,000 hours of the game, and I just understand now. It's not that complicated. Give people the ability to make their own mistakes. What the fuck is wrong with that? People are not just like these idiots, like in fucking meat suits walking around.